Welcome back to the second most important match of the day. It's our second semi-final. I'm here with Midgeman, who is sporting a very elusive Hearts of Iron for Christmas sweater.
I snuck into a certain set of offices in Stockholm while I've been here and nabbed myself one to keep me warm. And also, I accidentally got pasta sauce on my beautiful Commanders in Conflict one, so I had to switch it up. But yes, you said the second most exciting game that we have. I have to say, I think that this game is going to be a really interesting one, purely because Lennard's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes out now, he hasn't been playing all day. Well, he might have on his own, but he hasn't been playing with these players all day. This is a good chance for him to lose, and we could see a completely switched up final. We've been predicting the Lennard-Dankus rematch, and it would not be a Commanders in Conflict game if we weren't surprised in some way.
No.
And I think there's still a very remote chance, well, not less than remote chance, that Lennard doesn't pull this away.
This is true. And if you've just joined us, let's have a quick look at the bracket so we can see what it is to what we have to play for here. We are in the second of two semifinals, where Dankus Mimikas won the first one, so already qualified to the grand final. And in this one, of course, it's Lennard, our number one seed, undefeated day one against Discard Pixel, who has apparently the hardest name for everyone here to pronounce. I have no idea why that is.
Yes, a certain discourse. There's a discourse about the discord of Discard Pixel.
As a Swede, I thought it would be Lennard, but it's not. It's Discard Pixel. Discard Pixel has come up from the quarterfinal where he defeated Courier and is now set to take on Lennard. And you know what? As we said with the previous semifinal, the player who comes up from the quarterfinal has nothing to lose, and Lennard, as the number one seed, has essentially, everything to prove. That said, their quote shows why they're so humble.
Yes.
Whereas, Discard Pixel's quote is probably more of a, here's my mindset currently.
I'm in a field of dandelions. I wonder if this was a mantra, as whilst they're marching their troops straight across, the open sands of Libya. They're going, I'm in a field of dandelions. I'm in a field of dandelions. The bullets start coming in. I'm in a field of dandelions. I'm in a field of dandelions.
Winning is just a side effect of having fun. It might be. You know what? Let's assume that it is.
Yeah.
What are you expecting to see out of this game?
Well, first of all, who's on which faction again? Would you remind me, or do you know? Are you looking at me with such stress there because I think we've both forgotten? But is what we really need to see here is Discard Pixel shaking up Lennard, because like we said, we've got that game under their belt. They've got that warm up. They've had the time in between yesterday and today to formulate some plans. They got through their previous quarterfinal. They're coming into this, and they know, like you said, they've got nothing to lose, other than their dignity. If they get wiped out of the battle, that is a big thing. But it means they have the chance here to prove us all wrong. They get the chance to turn around and say, hey, Lennard's not really the mastermind here. It's been me all along. I'd like to see that.
At the same time, we had a winner interview for the first semifinal just before the break, where Dankus pointed out that they have, strategies to counter strategies of those strategies. And so far, what we've seen from Lennard is great, consistent play. We've seen the ally US plays. Of course, also played other things, but he's won all of them. But, from our perspective right here, that's what he's currently known for, right? And it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because just as Dankus pointed out, I'm sure Lennard kind of knows how to beat his own strategy.
Oh yeah, I'm very sure of it, and I think it will take Discard to do something really, really miraculous and really different for us to really get shaken up here. But it's not within the realms of impossibility. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup, and also Discard Pixel didn't. Yes, they didn't win yesterday, and they ended up in those quarterfinals, but I believe they're in slot number 4. I believe they were you know, very middle of the table. They're not a non-competent player.
No.
And I really think if anyone has a chance of changing this now, it is Discard.
Sure.
I mean, they are the only person left that can change the outcome of the final. But I really think there is I'd say a good 30% chance we're going to have a Discard Dankers final.
Okay. Well, I mean, I am looking forward to either or scenario. Before we go to our casters, I have one more very important thing to mention, and that is, of course, if you like what we do here at Speed 5, please follow us on Twitch. There should be a link to the mod that we're using in Twitch chat. Follow that link. Go check out our mod on the Steam Workshop. Give us a rating if you think we deserve it. Currently, I think you have to roll back. We are already working on that issue and other possible upgrades to the mod. But what we really want from you right now is feedback for what we're going to do, what we should do with Hoi 4 in the future. Yes. And the easiest way to do that, or rather the best way to do that, is to join our Discord, which is at discord.gg/speed5. Now, Mitch Man, with all of that said, I have the absolute pleasure to hand off to my two absolute favorite casters that are ready to cast this game for us.
Really rubbing it in now. God.
It's Count Christo and Tommy K.
Gentlemen, it is Saturday evening. Get some pop, get some coke. It is time to spend your time well with Heart of Iron for esports. We're here to determine who is the Portugal of Hoi 4. Let that one sink in for a second. That's what we're here for, and I'm with my boy, Count Christo.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Just to confirm some things that the casters were saying, we do indeed have Lennard, the pontiff of the Church of Lennard, of course, reprising his familiar role as the US over in the Allies. But in a bit of a deviation, Discard Pixel once again going for the Italian build over on the Axis. The numbers are razor thin. So far today, the Axis does lead. We've had, I believe, 3 victories from the Axis so far today. I could be counting wrong. It's been known to happen. But it's very much anybody's game. One thing that we've proven over the last 2 days, and I must say I'm very proud of this despite having had nothing to do with developing the mod. The mod is very balanced, I feel like. There are definitely differences. The US is really coming out as what seems like the strongest, but the actual 1v1 nature of the mod, Axis versus Allies, it's really come out really quite even, I think. But not so even that we can't have opinions on it. So Tommy, I'm curious. If you had to pick a side, let's say you were facing your clone, who are you going to pick?
Facing my clone? I will...
And you're playing Hoi 4.
I will tell him how good he looks first, and then it's a great question because every game is so different. As you were saying, I was so sad that I couldn't cast the last game. You guys did a great job though because it was so different.
It was a
so
heck of a game.
I love that, and I generally don't know who's going to win here. And we're starting to look at a point now where the player matters, not the nation so much. And Lennard, obviously the favorite here, and so I would probably like to take away from him the US. Also, if we see him in the final, I would love if the coin toss is showing him on the Axis.
It would be very interesting.
Yeah. One interesting thing just came to my mind. This is the first game where we see a main. What is a main in a video game? A main is your main race, your main nation you like to play, your main strategy. And Pixel here choosing the Italians, where Lennard is choosing the US, their main nations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with that. I feel like the Axis, Lennard has the safer pick. The Axis has so far, their games have been a lot more chaotic, but you know what they say, chaos, it can be a ladder. They're going to pull their way up into the final, potentially. That's what Discard is going to be trying to do here. Without further ado, let's dive into the game and see what's going to go on here. And with no further ado, go! Let the games begin. Let's see what's going to happen. A few other things to point out right off the bat. Research is fairly typical from Lennard. One little deviation, though. Often it's survivability research first for planes. He's instead gone anti-tank, possibly informed by what he saw. And I know he was watching. The players have been paying really close attention today, as that they've got to keep up to date with all of the latest kind of evolutions of the best strategies and the metas. Anti-tank on here. What about the research over on the German side of things? By German, I mean Italian.
Let us take a quick look on the Italian side here, and he's researching, as you were talking about, the survivability studies, and the armor trains just a must-have. And we also see that the heavy MGs are becoming a must-have. These MGs must be on the planes, both players going for planes once more. The air war is going to decide a lot. I think we have yet to see Lennard lose an air war, but maybe this card is the one, maybe the Italian air is the air that can finally face up to Lennard's air.
It's quite possibly. And the armored train notably absent, if we just hop back over to Lennard's perspective, notably absent from what he's researching. And of course, one of those things that's important to research early, because the armored trains are so expensive. It's going to take you a long time to build that up, any kind of stockpile of them, if you don't have that under your belt. But it's going to be interesting. Also, grabbing construction early, obviously fueling the fires of democracy. Yes, but something that you're seeing there, tell us about that.
We have intelligence agencies coming on both sides. If we switch over to Lennard here, the intelligence agencies are becoming a meta. People are talking about the planning bonus, and this is how you can get it or destroy it. And we're going to have a little bit of luck here in the way that whoever is catching the spy of the other person is going to have a good advantage in the game already.
Absolutely. It's partly going to come down to what spy, of course, they each get. That's going to be influential in terms of what we see here. Other than that, on the focuses, we're seeing very, very similar stuff going down the first two military focuses first. We've come very used to seeing that, of course. Grabbing that army experience, really important to get your templates built and potentially some of your doctrine stuff out. Going to be interesting to see what they do with that. On the construction things, if we could just do a little bit of a back and forth comparison here. So on the Axis side, and we'll take a look at the Allies production queue in just a moment, but on the Allies side, on the Axis side, we have the anti-air being produced. Now, that's being produced alongside, of course, survivability studies and heavy MG. So it's not going to be a no-air build, but it's an AA build as well. And with the US going against, of course, the Italians here, they don't have a huge amount of tanks. So I'm saying it again, I feel like the AA is sufficient to deal with it. Of course, I was talking to Midgeman about that, but what do you think, Tommy? Is the AA sufficient to deal with the potential tank threat from the US, or should there also be some anti-tank in here?
I think there should be some anti-tank.
Okay.
In the course of this tournament, we've seen, in my opinion, often NTR underperform. The cast was coming through anyway, the logistical damage was there, and NTR just didn't do well enough. If he's planning to use NTR 1 to pierce tanks here, it can work, but it's not going to be a game-breaking decision by him here.
Okay. And yes, tell us about the Allies production right now.
Very, very conservative here from... Oh, wait, that is... the Allied side. Yeah, the Allied side. Excuse me.
That's quite...
Very, very conservative. Build, you're going into infantry equipment, support equipment. Looks like you just started a single-player game. A bunch of trucks, nothing crazy there. I guess he's waiting to... Oh, no, we talked about it. He's not doing survivability measurements. He's not going into air early. But I guess we're going to see him very soon going into the anti-tank 2.
Yes, interestingly. And then to compare on some of the intelligence agency stuff that we've got going on here, we've got suicide pills coming out first, and that's it for now. Last time, of course, we saw Habibi going both economy civilian and an army department, just making sure he knew what was going on, which to me smacks of a little bit of a nervous play. This is, I want to know what you're doing so I can react. This is, I know what I want to do, so I'm going to do it. To me, that's how that comes down. But if we take a look over at the other side, a very similar play, suicide pills, and then interrogation techniques.
He wants to catch that spy quickly.
Interesting. Of course, the suicide pills will increase the chance that caught spy won't survive to be interrogated, but very plausible that they might. Nevertheless, it's only a plus 10% chance, though remember, that is a flat plus 10% chance, I believe. It doesn't make it 10% more likely, it makes it dramatically more likely. So we're going to see that more passive defense coming out here on this side of things. So we're going to be seeing some of that counterintelligence, obviously, helping out. Spy network already being built up here. Yes, production staying more or less as we have seen so far. Yes, very similar. But already fighters coming out here. That's early.
Let's take a look at this design.
Absolutely. Oh,
there
Tommy, it's just the thing you want to see. Nice.
Let's see how they perform.
With extra fuel tanks, interestingly.
For that range, yeah.
Bit of extra range, nicer performance all the way across that northern region. Now, obviously, in that last game, one of the really decisive things we saw was the hop paratroop evasion, which we should definitely come up with a better name for. But the jumping onto Valletta and then jumping from Valletta down to Benghazi. So, how can this be countered? We heard Danka saying he had a counter. I don't know what it is, except for building your own airbase here and then hopping straight into Benghazi with your very own paratroopers as the allies. Is that what you think you would do in order to try and counter that, or is there something else?
I could imagine, obviously, paratrooping it yourself or cutting the supply of that port with submarines, which is not that easy to do. It is a scary situation. When I was watching the last game, I was like, if I was in the situation as the Allies, I would just chill, build up my army, and take it back. But I think that was very wrong in my mind, because the supply was coming into Benghazi for Dankus. He was so far ahead there, and the investment the Allied player has to do to build supply towards the invasion of Benghazi is such a waste of time. And
True.
I guess we're going to see maybe later today what the counter to this is. Interesting to know though what Dankus means with that he knows a counter to his own
I agree.
Plop plop paratrooper tactic.
I mean, I definitely don't blame him for not wanting to share that, but I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see what he could come up with. He could, of course, have been bluffing, which is definitely one option. I think one of the things that was a mistake from Habibi in the previous one is that when the war broke out, his troops were training around Cairo, which means that by the time he got there, Dankus had the opportunity to reinforce with his 40 wits. If they had been at the front line charging in, he might have been able to push those paratroopers out before things had even started. The difficulty, of course, about intercepting boats to Benghazi is it's only 2 sea zones if you send them from Tripoli. So it's really, really difficult to have enough time catching them here, and it just makes the air war so cripplingly against you. I suspect in this game we're going to see a more traditional play, but I mean, there's still everything to play for sure, and we'll see where we're going to go. Here are the planes coming out on this side of things. Let's take a look. It's exactly the same. No, it's not, because it's also got the self-sealing fuel tanks. Okay, so that's a little bit of extra air defense coming in over here on Discard Pixel's side, which might prove decisive in the long-term war of attrition that the air wars have sometimes turned into. Not always, but sometimes.
And so far, we don't see any paratroopers coming out for anyone. This is going to be a very different game than the one we saw before. Might be very land-based. Another counter, obviously, I just came up with is have green air. If you have green air, nobody is going to paradrop you.
True.
It really depends on what you pick and how quickly you can get your air numbers up.
Absolutely. Yep. We are now seeing the armored train coming out on this side of things. Lennard grabbing that. Also, we're seeing Discard Pixel on the tech side of things, grabbing Logistics Company and Engineer 2, which I'm not sure we've seen.
Is that the return of his good old flame tank?
Ah, yes.
That could be the thing here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But how crazy is it that Lennard already, before this even happened, knows what might be coming and did the anti-tank too?
Yes, no, it's very impressive play, and the concentrated industry coming out there, not to be outdone by the Arsenal of Democracy over here. He is going to be powering through some of those techs. And yes, Construction 1, a much longer research, waiting to get those dividends there. Improved artillery, I would not be at all surprised about rocket artillery coming up here. A classic component of Lennard's strategy that has been so successful so far. And a truck here. Now, are we seeing trucks on both sides? We're not. Okay, interesting. So potentially no trucks from Discard. To me, that says a more defensive game. Less concerned about supply range, more concerned about potentially turtling on Tripoli. I could be wrong, but that's my theory.
And the spy networks are growing on both sides. Pixel now has a 55% spy network on Italy. Maybe we can check what on the other side is going on. And these spy networks give great bonuses. And it's really a cat and mouse game. Who is catching the spy of the other person first? Both people are on interrogation techniques and passive defense. There, sooner or later, we're gonna see these spies getting caught, and whoever gets caught first, or if the other person never even gets caught, makes a massive difference.
Absolutely. We are actually seeing Lennard, very similar spy network strength, 59% to 59%, but notably, no passive defense out of Lennard yet.
Banking army departure him.
And an army department which is going to allow him, of course, to get a little bit more on the intel side of things, potentially wanting to know when that armor gets deployed, potentially being a bit concerned about when that comes out. He is, he's what level is it he needs for the focus, the current focus? It's all the way up there at 70, I think. So, sorry, no, at
50.
Yeah, 50 is completed.
Completed national.
Yeah, which tells you enough. So, or if he can get just another 5% there, he's going to be close. He will be able to get that from the Intel network soon. That's going to be telling him it's Italy. I wonder if that will make him switch up his strategy, because right now he's going for no AT, he's going for no AA. But once he knows it's Italy, he might be a bit more concerned because Italy's air is substantial.
And spying isn't just a thing anymore. Esports spying isn't just a thing anymore in Counter-Strike or Dota 2. It's now also a thing in HoI4 Esports, and that is great to see how these spies are becoming part of this gameplay and have such a massive impact on the game here.
Absolutely. It's very cool to see mechanics that might be less relevant in your more traditional, more sweeping multiplayer, like especially these kind of big set piece C battles, some of the spy stuff, really becoming relevant here and showing how this game type really lends itself to shaking things up. Now, we're not seeing any CAS production yet, which is interesting because, of course, CAS is the aggressive airplay, right? Yeah. Both of them currently focusing on the shield more than the sword. We're going to see if they stay that way. Of course, Italy gets the improved small airframe, but these are fighters. The US likewise gets fighters. So neither of them, obviously, as with the Germans we saw in the last round, not getting those free cast out. So if they want them, they are going to have to build them. I have to imagine that Lennard is going to stick to his regular plan and build them. Is he researching? Yes. So armored train, we know he's probably going to take that into railway gun next, but still no paratroopers. Interesting. It's not too late yet, although we are approaching too late. He only has about another 40 days to start reaching paratroopers in order to have them in time for the war, and by then, of course, it's already more or less too late.
Maybe also Pixel knows that this paratrooper tactic, especially since we just saw it on the game,
yes,
is not going to work against Lennard. Maybe it will be a waste of time.
It's certainly a risk. It's a fairly large intervention. You'd need to... investment, not intervention. Okay, let's take a look at some templates. Could you possibly get up the Allied template? Let's do a little bit of comparisons. Oh, I like this. We've got the scuffed template and the B template. The B template has a little bit of a deceptive icon, I would say. That is the cavalry, the classic 2 width. And then the scuffed. Now, not 40 width, anti-air, support, no support anti-tank, 3 artillery. Talk to me about this.
25 width, we're mostly in 90 and 80 width here. I don't know if that's the best number, but I think we're going to see still a flame tank maybe in this. Back in the day, he was putting anti-air tanks into this, also stopped with that. I think they will get pierced very quickly. I don't know if I like the anti-air decision. We often saw anti-air is not shooting the cast down efficiently enough, especially anti-air 1. The Logi strikes is still going to happen.
Yes.
Maybe a waste. We don't know that yet, but it is something. But I always see the looming shadow of Lennard's 40 widths that we can see right over here. There it is again with the skull, 414. The 40 widths are there. They're going to get even more upgraded. And if we compare this to Discord Pixels division, I think I see a clear winner if it just comes down to division fighting.
And I mean, of course, as with anything, it's not just about how well these can go head to head, but I just can't imagine how this division is going to be able to do it punch for punch. I mean, we've got some time here before the war breaks out. Let's do a little bit of maths real quick. Let's care about soft attack. We've got 200 soft attack for 1.4 supply use. And over on the other side, we've got 312 soft attack for 1.8 supply use. So we are seeing 50% more soft attack for notably dramatically less than 50% more supply use, which means pound for pound, supply for supply, there's a lot more soft attack coming from Lennard's side of things. And that's before he's got a bunch of his techs and his bonuses. Speaking of bonuses, let's do a little bit of a comparison on Officer Corps stuff so far. Interesting. Okay. So far, Discard has gone for division speed as opposed to, because of course he's not got the German one, so he can get the attack. He's got division speed there. He's gone with critical hit chance, and that's what he's selected so far. No doctrine stuff coming out so far. Meanwhile, over on the other side of things,
I just got kicked out quick, and there we are with Dwight D. Eisenhower, 10% attack, very, very strong on 40 widths. The arm XP is coming, nothing else going on other than the overwhelming firepower. This man is just screaming 40 widths, soft attack, artillery experience gain, designer costs going down heavily. Lennard really, really believes in these 40 widths. And in my 6,000 also for 4, I was often asked, what is the counter to 40 whiffs, Tommy? Make your own 40 whiffs. And then
it really
support it with air, maybe out micro your opponent, and 40 whiffs still a strong, strong, strong division that still is looking for a strong counter. And if there's no counter, join them.
It seems that way. It seems that way. Meanwhile, we are seeing here some naval invasions being planned. I think we're seeing, yes, 4 separate naval invasions have been planned. Now, the reasoning for this, of course, is that when you catch a naval invasion, you catch one naval invasion. You don't necessarily catch all of them. So by sending 4, he's going to require 4 fleets in order to be able to intercept them. I believe that's how it works.
A very genius move.
Very
That
smart,
distinguishes
very smart.
A good player and a bad player. Very well done here.
Absolutely. He's not wanting to be caught out by Lennard in the same way that Dankus was in the very first game there. Meanwhile, over on the naval front of things, we're seeing a pretty aggressive move, honestly, by Lennard here.
Already going out with convoy raids here. And we were just talking about that he's trying to intercept the invasion of Malta, but 4 different invasions from Discord Pixel.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Individual convoy raiding forces, every single ship in his fleet. He's really, he's really trying to intercept things here. He's got what is this? He's got 11, he's got 15 different fleets on convoy raiding right now. 15 fleets!
He is spreading his
Jesus.
assets.
He really, really wants to intercept that ability to land on Malta, but he could be punished for this because there's a substantial force ready to support that. So if one of those ships gets caught and, let's say his battleship is caught by this fleet, it's going to be wiped out incredibly fast, especially because there we have the breakout fleet just being spawned in. Massive, massive fleet here. Italy, of course, potentially not what he's expecting. Italy has a really, really powerful, by far the most powerful, conventional fleet here. I mean, look at this. 4 battleships, 6 light cruisers, 29 destroyers. This is the kind of thing that's going to obliterate anything that comes in here. But obliterating takes time. Meaning that if Lennard can catch a few people and land on there, he's going to put himself in a very, very nice position. That said, we only have 54 days, and as of now, there's no naval invasion being planned.
And as we've seen from Lennard lately, he is going less and less into the naval side of things, especially as the allies, he realizes, I can win this as my 40 whiffs and very good supply into Tripoli. Hey, let him have Malta. And I wonder if that maybe later is gonna be not so good for him when the defender of Tripoli is starting to be really on his level. Maybe today, maybe in the final. And we will see if Malta is becoming a point of interest here.
I mean, it really seems like there's going to be a battle for the Atlantic. It's been the Med. It's been a little while since we've been faced with this kind of serious early naval challenge against the Axis. So far, most players have just said, okay, you know what, Axis? You have Malta. And some of the best allied players have then, of course, gone on to win regardless, not even caring about Malta. But this is Lennard saying, no, you know what? I did it in the first game. I can do it again. I can do some moves here. I can make things happen. It's going to be interesting to see if that's right. It's certainly a risk because these individual fleets are easy targets indeed for Discard's main battle fleet, which he is keeping all together still. He does have a bunch of raiders of his own, but he's just using his subs and then a bunch of DDs. Now, what could go wrong for Discard here is he's got these 8 fleets of single destroyers doing convoy escorts. Now, historically, that's been sufficient because the things that have been raiding have just been subs. But if one of these DDs, one of these DDs comes up against a battleship, they're going to get wiped off the face of the earth. We're going to see things get completely massacred at that point. And suddenly, the Navy is anyone's game.
Yeah, and on Lennard's side here, we see a very conservative build, very old school, good old 40 with a level 2 artillery and a lot of air. If you take a look at this airframe again, I think this is an airplane that also is available. No, it's not available to cast at the moment. This design only for the air war and nothing logi striking here yet. But knowing Lennard, he is going for the logi strike sooner or later. Also about to finish the railway gun. I sometimes would like to see from other players a counter railway gun. If you counter
I agree.
they have the same stats in the fight, but this is giving a nice little edge to Lennard once it's finished. He only needs one single gun in these games, and it so far might be very worth it to do this, as we've seen.
It seems like it. And then over here on Discard's side of things, he is doing CAS. So he's so far the only one producing, offensive aircraft. And he's gone with 2 bomb locks plus the anti-tank cannon, cranking up his ground attack all the way to 8. Pretty nice. And obviously 8, that's 8 average. He's got quite a bit of that there. It's going to be able to do a lot of that ground attacking. Nothing else on here. He's going for, literally bang for buck, trying to get as much explosions as he can with the minimum investment. Hasn't actually started building any of them yet, but they are creeping towards the next program there. And here we go. The battle has started, and let's see what takes place here in the Med. Forces are on their way, and they are, in fact, his cavalry going in. Okay, 1 court, 2 courts, but the rest looking like they might be able to make it through. No, okay, quite a few being caught here, making their way away, some of them. I think that's all the divisions now caught up in this battle, but very, very rapidly escaping. The question is, once they've escaped, are they going to be immediately recaught? I wouldn't be surprised if they were, but no, it looks like they are going to be able to land relatively uncontested unless we have another fight break out very, very soon. Yes, there we go. Okay, caught once again this time, but look at this.
A beautiful defense.
Axis Navy managing to come in the nick of time, driving those forces away, meaning that there is going to be nothing to stop the landing on Valletta. There it is. The cavalry land successfully. Okay.
This is a lovely mind games by Lennard. He knows he's going to lose Malta eventually, but he is triggering the micro and the attention of Pixel here a little bit. That's going to be very interesting to see. And both are moving to their positions. We know these positions, Tripoli and Benghazi. And every time we cast a Lennard game, I'm saying this. If you give Lennard's US time so that he attacks in the final 10 minutes, you are on the disadvantage. It looks like you have the advantage because as the Germany player right now has more victory points, he has to defend. But giving Lennard USA time is a bad move. And I wonder if Pixel knows this and maybe will do something about it. Will he be proactive about this, like Danke showed us before?
It's going to be difficult for him to do that. We know, of course, that our players have been paying attention today. Those not in the games, those in the games, of course, haven't been watching, but those who are in the games will have been watching. They'll have been paying attention to what's gone down and how these things have carried on. We are seeing a push in here, just taking up the very standard defensive line with these piddling little divisions. These are the... Oh, no, sorry, these are the good divisions, my bad. But look at this. This is potentially a blunder. If there were to be an offensive right now, these guys are chronically undersupplied. We're looking at a strength value of 50% on some of these divisions. Of course, it's very difficult to make an offensive at this stage, and we're seeing very few of the 40 wits. Only 2 40 wits right now over on Lennard's side of things. Yes, taking up some pretty familiar front lines, and there we go. The airbase finally coming under control. No air war yet, but we'll keep an eye on that as things progress. A few little weird kind of back and forth battles with the Allied forces sending in 1-2 ships, the occasional hits on convoys back and forth. But interestingly, another thing we are seeing here is a little bit of a fuel issue for Discard here. Discard, of course, with the huge battleship fleet, it takes a lot of fuel to run that fleet.
But he has Malta, and I think, let's not forget, Malta even gives you a lot of resources here that he truly needs. And that's also a nice bonus for the Axis players, because Malta is providing you with a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A hefty amount of oil coming out there. But it looks like our players are setting up for the long haul. We are seeing, I have to imagine, some of the standard stuff. Interesting. No railway yet, going for the port first. Now, this is an aggressive port.
Yep.
That's interesting to see. So obviously much further forwards than we normally get, meaning potentially setting up for an offensive, or at least a further forward front line of supply. We know that Lennard can break through at the last minute, but can he do it quickly if you've got multiple lines of defense?
I think what this port represents is I am not just going to sit here waiting for you, Lennard. I know it's going to be maybe too much like it has been before, and I am slowly coming. Well, how about we turn things around? I'm the one creeping up to you this time.
Yeah, and this is a difficult province to attack from. We saw Dankus deploy masterfully in the last game the strategy of attacking in, driving the enemy back from the front line. This province right here can be attacked from 3 directions. One of the few 3-direction attacks that we've been able to see so far, because of course players are trying to angle it such there's only ever 2 directions you can attack a province from. This is a province that you could easily drive people back from, denying them that ever important US basis, and then that US planning bonus, which means they can only attack from here, at which point things go less well. Now I think I just saw, no, that was sabotage, not an air raid yet. But Here we go.
And there's the activity I was looking for. This is, are these good divisions or is this just the camels? This is actually
These are
good divisions,
camels.
right?
No, these are camels.
No.
It's a deceptive template
okay.
icon.
Unfortunately, I feel like Lennard is just too good of a player to fall to something like this. He's protecting his ports.
He is.
And he's probably going to know.
He is protecting his ports with training divisions in one of them, and these back divisions are, yes, they're not good, but they're probably good enough to hold off against naval invasions. They might distract. Alamein, however, not. Oh no, it is also defended. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Lennard,
that is just a great play by Lennard.
Lennard knows what he's doing. He's, as you say, he's playing his main. He's got the experience here. He knows what to do. He knows when to do it. He's got things pretty much under control. I can't see this working. What I could see it doing is splitting micro at a crucial moment. Because
One thing I like to do when I play her force, let these invasions go out when you also attack the land.
Yes.
Trigger the attention of your enemy, make them micro hot, trigger the APM to go up, and only there you can force mistakes from such a good player as Lennard.
I agree. I agree. He's scouting as well. He knows where Lennard has these troops. He's aware of where he needs to be striking. He's shifting around where the attacks need to fall. And of course, as we've been saying, as the Axis player here, all you need to do is waste your opponent's time. There's plenty left, of course, 33 minutes left on the clock. But I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think discard, he's got everything still to play for, but the longer he can delay things and a comprehensive naval invasion, it's certainly distracting. It certainly takes your time.
And let us take use of our beautiful technology here and see what our players are doing. Discard Pixel with an upgraded picture. That's what you get when you get the semifinals.
Oh, yeah.
He is getting his sips right now. He's also building for the long run. And again, he's in the defending position right now. Anti-air coming up for him. Beautiful infantry builds with artillery to the air. Only 10 factories on air. I mean, do we have an air war at the moment? Let us take a quick look here.
Don't think so. No, not yet.
Not yet. It's going to be very interesting to see these air forces coming up. And let's take a look here at Lennard's side. What is he up to? He has...
Look at that close air support investment.
Yeah.
Wow.
And less factories on air than Discord Pixel has.
Yeah.
What's he doing there? They're fighting over the Mediterranean.
Oh, so they are. Okay, interesting. And that's something that right now is
He's trying to figure out why he has the red color on his side right now. Look at that. And that shows a high-level player. He looks at the stats. He looks at what's going on. He is letting nothing down to luck. He sees what his enemy is doing.
He's got a 2-to-1 disadvantage right now, so not hugely unsurprising. But he's trading okay, 2 for 2, looking good so far. Nothing too exciting there. One thing I wanted to highlight just really quickly, I love Discard Pixel's railway building. Look at this.
Yeah.
Coming from the back line, and he's keeping it a tile away from the coast. This is not a railway line you can cut with a simple naval invasion. Love to see that. Let's see if we're seeing something similar from Lennard. I wouldn't be surprised. No. Interesting. No railway from Lennard. Just the ports.
Very good.
Just the ports.
Is Lennard realizing that railways are actually not necessary here?
I mean, it would also mean that your enemy's CAS investment was substantially less efficiently spent. He might, of course, just be going ports first because they provide immediate supply, then railways to back him up, but it's anybody's guess.
Which once again will show his mindset of, I'm going to attack in the last 10 minutes, and I have time here. And I always wondered, and maybe Pixel is the one, or maybe Dankus later, someone challenging this defensive control play from Lennard here, who now is at the front line.
Just doing a little bit of scouting. And look at the aggressiveness of that port construction. No way!
Port, huh?
He's not going to be allowed to build that, surely.
Maybe he doesn't care. He knows if I lose this port, I can afford it.
It's true. He can.
And there's the award. Let's take a look at that.
Look at that, 9-6. He's not trading very well. He is obviously outnumbered 2-1. You have to imagine that that's going to be a tricky one for him to keep up, especially with the significantly superior spotting that his enemy is getting there from the controlled territory. There we go, pulling out of that air war. Not too surprising. I would be amazed if he manages to complete that port on the coast right up in Discard's face. We've seen players do the little pushes to ensure those ports don't get to be completed. I have to imagine we see something similar here again.
And this is a situation in which Pixel has to show if he's ready to take down Lennard. He has to force these two ports to be stopped here with a quick little attack. And he could waste a lot of time off Lennard here. And we talked about this. time is against Lennard. He needs to use 30 minutes to
Absolutely.
take down Triple E on Malta.
There
And
we
there it
go.
is, beautifully done.
Not surprising, we're going to see that port denied, making sure that he's being pushed back. And he's got his forces training behind there, not pushing further, maybe pushing further again, but we'll see. I mean, the supply situation for Discard, if we head over to his
I would
perspective
almost say you call the technical situation as the Discord pixel. Trigger the micro of Lennard, go around. You see in the bottom, we have 2 divisions here. They're easily encirclable right now. You could actually be a little bit cocky over there.
I think so. I mean, he doesn't know what we do, which is that Lennard doesn't really have very many
Yeah.
men close behind that front line. But at this point, there's not much reason not to push. If you're able to, and you're able to fall back if you need to, then things could be going interesting. Oh, what's this? Where's this going? Where's this going? Ah, okay. That's an interesting one. This is potentially an encirclement. And if we do see Lennard lose 2 of those 40 wits, it would be a devastating blow for sure.
A weakness I see with Lennard here is his full supply is reliant on ports. Now, imagine Pixel will have enough submarines to intercept all the convoys coming to these ports. Navy could play a big part here in taking down Lennard's supply.
Very much so indeed. I mean, one of the difficulties that Discard Pixel is going to have is you can look at those guys on the front line. They're still sitting at kind of 80% strength. Definitely in a problematic state of things. His fuel situation has improved, though. He could start using his major fleet to do this. He's scouting. He can see that those ports are being held. Are more ports being built? Let me check here. Yeah, he is got yet more ports being built on the front line there, making sure that he's going to be able to hold this. But will he be allowed to make it? Only another 12 or so days for Discard to interrupt that. And he has, of course, got his only two, I believe, good 40 wits there. Oh, and now
Lennard
going back on the
but the instant
offensive.
counter here, beautifully done.
Very nice counter. And look, that was a
beautiful.
mistake. A real blunder. Discard Pixel managing to push in there. Probably going to deny this port, although he doesn't know there's a port being built there. So tragically, my bet right now, he's not going to push into the tile. He's going to push them back and stop. That's my guess.
And even desperate defense now. We saw for the first time maybe a
Wow.
small mistake by Lennard because Chet, you have to
Oh.
understand, when he attacked, he gave away all his entrenchment. They came out of the trenches. And instantly the sudden reaction from Pixel.
Very
He is
nice.
on the same level here as Lennard at the moment. I love to see this.
And Discard doesn't know what he just lost, because in mere days that port's going to be completed and he's going to realize how much of a mistake he made. This last stand is going to last long enough to prevent the port being destroyed. Although, of course, if it were to fall immediately after being created, then you've just spent all of that industry to help your enemy. And there's a risk of an encirclement here as well, obviously getting a little bit far from Discard's port too.
Imagine the mind games that you wait for him to finish the port, you then take it somehow, and you got a free port from your enemy.
That would be quite the play indeed. I mean, there's a real risk here. This is a much, much less stable Lennard front than we're used to seeing. It's very risky situation he finds himself in until that port is created, which is just in a few days.
Let us not forget the naval invasions Discard Pixel is setting up here behind the
It's
lines.
true. I mean, what is Discard focusing on right now? The naval invasions are active. Oh, but the troops have been taken off them.
Is he doing it? He's doing it. Now it depends.
is
How will Lennard
trying.
react to this attempt here? Will the naval invasion be part of this?
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the troops from the naval invasion are still in place. They're not assigned to any of them, but the plans have been done.
There's a reaction from Lennard. 2 divisions are coming to defend behind the lines.
Okay, I mean, that's a bold encirclement attempt. There's the port created.
And you can see it's a long way through the desert here. It takes a long time for them to arrive.
Absolutely. I mean, and there's the pinning attack with the force attack. Roaring into that port. Oh my
And the port
goodness.
is finished.
I don't see a way. Oh,
This
potentially with the
turn might...
encirclement.
And look at that invasion.
The
And finally
naval
someone
invasion. Let's go.
is triggering Lennard's micro, but Lennard with the beautiful defense behind. But there it is. If he lets that go through, there's no way he lets that go through. Instantly
No,
pinning that.
there's the pin. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And of course, he can't retreat from that. That's not a terrible division that's being pinned there. But I mean, those divisions on Last Stand, we've talked about this. Last Stand, it's a double-edged sword. That's Lennard's only 240 width divisions, and their strength is being grinded
wow,
down.
look at that.
Encirclement
Beautifully
penalty.
done.
Holy hell.
As I told you, Christo, you have to trigger Lennard's micro here, and the first man to do it, he is going so dimensional, and Lennard now in a very bad situation here. 2 of his best divisions encircled here in this port. Will he get them out in time? Will they be raided? This is massive for Discard Pixel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Attempts to break open the pocket from the east are ongoing, but the Last Stand is active on both sides. It looks like it's just run out, switching to force attack on Lennard's side, and that province is going to fall in about 2 days. But here comes the relieving force from the east, looking like it might just be able to break that out. Okay, reinforcing from the south, potentially, but he's just holding both. Still
Look
winning
at the supply
on both of these. And look at the strength of that division plummet down to 50% originally. Gosh, it's so close. The naval invasion really successful at holding people back.
In Dota, they will say this is a black hole because these divisions ain't coming back from the void. If they go down here, their strength really going down. This is massive losses for Lennard. These are 40 whiffs with great equipment, with artillery too, and this is massive for Pixel if he kills this.
Even if he holds it, 80% of the equipment in those divisions is dead already. There's nothing that can be done, and he's doing that great micro, splitting out a single division into a separate army, throwing on the last
north
stand.
might break, though the last stand is there.
It's the last stand on, but no, look at that. The last stand is being done in there, which is all honestly only serving to crank up the strength damage that's being inflicted upon these two divisions. And if he can get that, he puts himself in an excellent position to continue.
And that is the problem of a last stand with these two divisions here. They will hold as long as they can, but they are going to start losing strength.
Oh, yes. I mean, look at it. They're down to 20% strength. It's devastating. 15, 14% strength. At 13% strength, the damage does not stop coming. Let's take a look here at this. I mean, this fight is absolutely raging. And we should have taken a look at the air here. Oh, my God, look at the air. What a misplay from Lennard. Are his planes? Where are his planes? He's got 83 fighters active in this region versus 200. Easy, easy green air for Discard Pixel. But there it is. The
it has
pocket
been open.
just held open, but that's not good enough. Yes, he's feeling good. He saved his two divisions, but what has he saved? 10%, 2% strength. Oh my God. There comes two more deployed in, so he's not all the way out, but that's a devastating blow.
Ladies and gentlemen, just because they have been freed, it doesn't mean they haven't been taking damage. And we can check the damage right here in the tab.
True.
3,000 infantry
Oh
equipment.
my God.
And combat losses to the enemy, 3,000. That means 3,000 soldiers down.
Look at the actual combat on that one. It's absurd. I mean, this combat here, we can see that in that one battle, he lost 22,000 manpower in order to kill 21,000. But look at the amount of equipment lost. It more balanced than I thought, to be honest. I mean, very, very even. 3,000 for 3,000. It's much closer than I would have thought.
But Chris, to the psychological side of things, right? Finally, someone is giving parody to Lennard. He realizes, oh, this is not going to be easy anymore. And Lennard needs to find a solution for this.
And he's lost that port that he spent so much effort building, so much effort holding on to, meaning that Discard Pixel puts himself ever closer to being able to enter that final round of this tournament. That is, of course, what we're all playing for, but here it comes. Nice hit there as the trains come in, again, staying close back from the coastline, making themselves impervious to exactly the same kind of threats that he managed to inflict just then on Lennard, keeping his troops nice and supplied. But look at this logistical problems that we've got over here on Discard's side. Minus 700 infantry, minus 400 artillery. That's an 80-day shortage right there. It's going to take a long, long time to replenish, and starting to look a little bit troublesome on logistics fulfillment. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, much, much more healthy. The Arsenal of Democracy is going to keep Lennard in this game. Even after that, got to be a humiliating pushback from that port.
And under pressure, diamonds are made. Lennard finding himself for the first time in a position of pressure. And it's going to be so interesting to see how he reacts to this. This is where legends are formed. But the air isn't really going his way at the moment here.
Look at that. Lennard losing almost 10-1 fighter count against the opponent. You can't be seeing that not at this level. I mean, it's really, really looking hard for Lennard to come back from this. He's got a great position.
Let us take a look how Lennard is reacting to this from his cam. Very often when you switch over to Lennard, we see him look at air here. Wow, why do I have red air? What's going on here? I need to fix this. Now going for
nice
the attack.
attack.
And look again, once again, this is what makes Lennard such a special player. He looks at the stats, he looks at the mathematics.
But the breakthrough is just not there, not with the air debuff. The air debuff is very heavily against him right now. It's going to make it really, really challenging for him to be able to push through here.
The pressure is on. 20 minutes for Lennard to make something happen here. I think he's waiting to get the air back on his side, but if it never happens, you need a different strategy to come back from this.
Absolutely. In terms of air investment right now, it's worth noting that Discard Pixel, perhaps a little cocky in his supremacy in the air. He's got only 10 factories on the air. Lennard, meanwhile, up there at 18. Very significant investment difference.
I hear tanks, chains rattling.
Okay.
A tank is coming to the front line. Or did I see that wrong?
No, you saw it absolutely right. The armored division is being pulled in on Lennard's side, perhaps hoping to break through and take that port back. He's got to be struggling on supply, looking okay for now, building another port right up in his opponent's face here.
And here we have the first armored division on its way to the front. This division has to make something happen. It's a strong division. Let us take a look at the stats here. Breakthrough-wise, 222 in comparison to his 40 with. Let's take a look at that. The breakthrough is, he's coming with almost triple breakthrough now with this tank. This tank would make a very big difference.
It certainly could, but I mean, the air is still badly against him. He's now fighting 117 support planes, flying against 300 fighters and 21. His support planes now flying entirely unsupported. I mean, that's not really what you want to be seeing. There are the tanks though, and there's the push, looking extremely good and pushing in behind here. Is he going to try and capitalize on it, go for the encirclement? He's got the planning bonus on the troops in the north. Not immediately capitalizing on it, but there is the staff plan bonus active. He's getting that mighty, mighty US planning bonus and looking like he might be able to begin the steamroll that we all know he's been capable of before.
And this is a beautiful situation because who can stop this tank right now? Not an army, not 10,000 soldiers, one single spy. If Pixel Spy is still active, let us check that out right now. He is on 100%. This is a massive debuff to planning bonus for this tank. Maybe,
it's not enough.
Italuga, whatever, falls. As the attack happens, that means a debuff in the battle.
Oh, but it's not enough. Look at that battle melt. Oh my God. You know Discard has to be lamenting that one. That's something that Lennard can do over and over in this situation. I don't know what's going to stop him. The casualties there were really low. There are all these ports leading all the way to Tripoli. It looks like Lennard might be able to do what we've seen him do so many times before. He's got the punching power needed.
The news is making the news among them access power. Apparently a new division has arrived at the front line and it's wreaking havoc. The first armored division with massive stats, massive power, and he doesn't even need the air. He doesn't need the air
doing
to
this
push hard here.
under red air, storming forwards, looking fairly unstoppable, but supply is still an issue. He's going to be needing to attempt to fix things up there. He's not got the trucks available. No, he does have a lot of trucks. Ooh, critical error, actually, from Lennard right now. No motorization going on these guys. He's got 300 trucks in reserve. That could be the difference maker.
Let's see if we figure this out. He also took his port back that he built earlier. Good attack, Pixel trying to counter this. Doesn't seem to work, though. He's just trying to stall for time. I mean, this is
a winning attack,
Pixel's main line here. He's allowed to lose this, but after that,
it gets harsh.
Very scary is about to happen.
But he is
losing the port.
Oh,
he's not.
No, he can't.
In the last moment.
He called it off. That's odd. I mean, it really comes down to who can stay on the offensive here, because planning bonus plus breakthrough is currently doing a lot better than entrenchment plus defense. I mean, and we're seeing these pushes continue.
Also, do we have convoy? Do we have a show bombardment on this? I don't think we do. Oh, he took the tile.
We don't. We don't right now.
Things
One more tile forwards, looking very close. Oh, God, and look at this. It's a bit of a desperation play coming out of Discard. These militia troops, colonial troops, divisions rather, being deployed in from the Italian focus tree, coming in to try and hold this back line. But those are not quality divisions. Not the kind of thing you want to be seeing here for sure. It's very close. I mean, but the supply situation for Lennard has suddenly become critically bad.
I was just feeling like checking out this focus, and a 21 with a light tank division just coming in for Italy here.
Oh, here it comes.
Spawning in, and it comes to the front line. It says David versus Goliath. I'm ready to represent myself as David, the small tank versus the medium tank. Going to be quite interesting. Taking the tile back now.
But David's the one. Sorry, Goliath is. Sorry, wrong way around. David is the one who's going to have something to eat, because right now Goliath's supplies are very, very much wanting. And if we take a look here, he is successfully launching this counterattack very successfully. A dangerous position for Lennard, because this offensive could be carried forward. Not quite holding on the defensive again. It needs. Oh no, he is holding. Even more dangerous for Lennard. Is Lennard going to fail at his micro? He's not stopping the attack. That's a mistake. He can't afford to let these divisions run out of organization, because that will happen. And then we will see the counteroffensive. Look at that. You can't attack and lose.
And the light tank guy in chat was saying, what is that light tank going to do? That's what the light tank is going to do. Taking the
speed of it and moving past. He might even...
And he's wasting Lennard's time here. 15 minutes left for Lennard.
And it might not just be time wasting. Look at this with the massive supply shortages. The Lennard's facing overrun. There we go. And
this is a
going into
disaster.
the back port. Oh, he's not quite holding that, but he has more men coming, and the victory here is going to give him that. This is the power of Green Air. He's pushing in so fast, and the troop movement speed is just too great. He's able to come in. Those light tank speed.
This will be a devastating circumvent. It is already a devastating push. Lennard is looking to be in the ropes here. Can he do the Muhammad Ali and come back in the final round against Joe Frazier, a.k.a. this Oh my God! Maybe not the encirclement is there. The port might help, but this is devastating damage.
Powering straight through.
Oh my God, they are gone.
They're not dead. They're at
there
sea, but they're immediately being raided by a single battleship coming in to defend them. Oh my goodness me. And there's the fleet. The fleet coming in, sending them to the bottom. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This is a massive kill. The biggest play we maybe have seen it in this tournament. Unbelievably done by the underdog. Discard Pixel.
Roaring through towards Benghazi's, perhaps even going to be able to secure his 3-point win. 14 minutes on the clock, and Lennard being absolutely hammered here. Look at this. The difference is all but obvious in the deployed manpower. We got 60,000 from Lennard, 135,000 from Discard Pixel. The casualties are outrageous.
If Lennard comes back from this, he truly deserves a spot in the final, but this has been a devastating blow.
And the airbase falls.
Beautiful.
Even more decisive Green Air for Discard Pixel here. What a play. And he's forced them off Benghazi. Oh, that's got to be it.
The air just being so strong. We often, when we switched to Lennard's side, saw him check the air. Why is it red? The air might break his back here. And then the light tank coming in as the clutch carry. Beautifully done.
The light tank was so influential. I mean, we look at this division. It's not got the stats, but it's got the speed. I mean, not right now. Not right now. But when it's got the supply, it's got the speed. But there is a risk of overextending.
Is there been a GG called? Yes.
Oh,
Lennard
that's it.
Calls the GG. Unbelievable.
I'm not, gotta say, I'm not too surprised. It's very fair from Lennard to call that at that point. I mean, look at that push. It was the greatest push in the tournament so far. Things are heating up, and you can tell.
The upset of the tournament. Can you believe it? The favorite is out. The favorite is out. I cannot believe it. It's called Pixel goes into the finals versus Dankus Mimicus.
It's amazing.
Jesus.
I mean, Lennard, clean sweep yesterday. Not a single loss. Storming through, feeling confident, feeling good. He's got a strategy named after him. He's got a faction that's being called overpowered because of what he does with it. A church, a faith, a whole movement. And he's using the nation that everyone says the US is overpowered, the US can't be beaten. Discard Pixel comes in and says, we will see about that. And he tears them apart.
What a game. As always, nothing but respect to Lennard, who's played so extraordinary here. In the end, his main tactic, his USA tactic, has been beaten here by the Italians. Beautifully done. And we have a final, ladies and gentlemen.
We absolutely do. We now know that the final of the first ever Commanders in Conflict is going to be Dankus against Discard. It's the DDs facing it off in the final. And I can't wait to see how that goes down. We've got two players renowned for their incredible Axis tactics, for their consistent allied play. What are they going to do with it?
It's going to be very interesting to see that. And I cannot wait after this break going into the final. I think this is also the final game you've been hosting today here with me.
It's true. It's true.
And from the bottom of my heart, I have to tell you, it has been a pleasure working with you. I learned a lot of English from you this weekend. And a great pleasure. Count Christo, someone you should keep your eyes open for.
It's been a great pleasure. We will hand you back over. And of course, likewise to you, Tommy, likewise to you. We're going to be handing it over to our hosts who are going to be determining who, the ever important, who is going to play who in the final with the final coin toss of our weekend.
Wow. So what we have here is D-Day. We have Dankus versus Discard. The change-up that we talked about at the beginning, that we possibly predicted, the thing I said there was a 30% chance of, we are seeing it here. We have had a complete change. We just had to run downstairs because we were having a lovely conversation and we went, no, wait, what? Lennard, GG? We now will know what the L on that symbol meant. It was loser. Because holy moly, did we have a change of scenery here? I'm blown away.
I mean, I to Lennard's credit,
Yes.
he
No,
came
yeah.
in undefeated. Bold, but I like it.
Look,
You're gonna. You know what? You're probably gonna eat those words.
I'm gonna
later
eat those
on.
words, and I really hope in the next event, Lennard comes over and just absolutely just rips apart the thing. And the thing is as well, we have to give Lennard credit. He's had such insight into anything today. All of the faction picks, half of the scene meta today has been Lennard's doing, and he's been talking to these players and honestly developing the meta with them. And now it's just unfortunately fallen short in terms of a micro level, which, you know, he's always been the big brain player and Dankus has always been the micro player. That's what we're going to have, a battle of brains versus brawns in the end, but Discard has kind of beaten him to it. And credit where credit's due. Lennard has played absolutely brilliantly, and this is an unexpected upset.
Yes.
But it's just such a wonderful thing to see at the same time.
It is, and luckily for us, we have Discard Pixel with us. How are you feeling?
Hello, I'm super nervous. That was unexpected. I'm not gonna lie, because Lennard was probably, I mean, he was literally the top-rated player of yesterday, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I was super nervous to play against him. I thought I was gonna 100% lose and get rolled, but oh.
So, from your perspective in that game, what do you think was your winning play that made you get the W in the end?
Unexpectedly, it was a random light tank spawn in that got me the win and overran the units and just kept on pushing.
Yeah, so what you're saying is the speed was the key in that. I have to say, we were really eyeing up that back and forth, that initial encirclement you went for, and we thought, oh, okay, this was close. Like we were saying upstairs, this is Discard's chance. It's like this. I mean, it's been a very good game, and even if we get that one highlight, it's a really lovely thing to talk about. But then you come over and you just wipe the floor with the leading seeded player. It's got to feel good, right?
I mean, yeah, but what's it called? Lennard put like super pressure on me, like 100% for super pressure. So yeah, gotta give him credit for that.
I mean, and it's also one of the things we should recognize here as well, right? That, you know, in a perfect world, I know we've had people in Twitch chat say that, and I kind of agree, right? Like, next iteration of this, maybe at least the grand final is a best of 3, maybe the semi-final is a best of 3. And of course, now, because it is a best of 1, it's one of those cases, right? Like, if you get a tiny bit lucky, you then react to it, you push forward, and if the skill gap is close enough, you know, it's open for everyone's game, and we're ready for some some
100%.
upset.
I have a technical question.
Oh, yes.
Why Italy?
Why Italy? And I mean, Italy, I found that Italy is the best Navy nation. Because in Hoi 4, the Navy supremacy doesn't matter if they go UK, whatever, Italy will have the most because there's battleships. And battleships gives the most supremacy out of all of the Navy ships. So I just want total dominance over the sea so I can just focus on land battle, yeah?
Okay, so you're going for the dominance there so you can lock off that front and like remove it from your mind in order to really focus on that land. Okay, that's a really interesting, that's not what I thought you were going to answer, but I really respect that choice and that like understanding of that faction. That's really cool. Are you hoping for Axis or Allies in the final?
Well, in this tournament, I played only allies once.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm kind of hoping for allies, though, because I do have one ace card on my sleeve.
Okay, interesting. Well, Discard Pixel, thank you so much. We will see you shortly in the grand final. Thank you for talking to us.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the bracket. We know what's left. It is Nankas Mimikas versus Discard Pixel, but I want to draw attention to the bottom left going up. We see Discard Pixel in the quarter final winning. We see Discard Pixel coming into the semifinal against the #1 seed winning.
Yeah.
And now he's up against Dankas Mimikas, all very strong.
Yes.
Like, I'm wondering how much the feel good, the positive energy you get from knowing that I came in first game of the quarterfinal, semifinal, now I'm here.
Yeah. So I mentioned beforehand how it was probably of detriment that Lennard hadn't had a game yet today, and that Discard had a game. He's warmed up. The thing is now, you've got the mental fortitude. We're getting towards the end of the event. So many games played yesterday, so many games played today. Can he keep the focus in order to take Dankus out at the end? Because if so, then we have a heroic story that's built today.
Yeah. We are about to go to a break, but before we do, we have to do the most important coin toss of the tournament. Midgeman, you get to do the coin toss.
No, I can't do this. I can't do this for the final tour. Look, we've all had a go. Plus, you've made us all go. You saw me drop it before. You need to do this.
Fine. Okay. So, as we know, we have a dragon on one side. We have Scales on the other.
Yep.
Dragon is Dankus. Scales is Discard Pixel. Whoever ends up on top, that is going to be Axis.
I actually can't look.
I am going to fail to catch this.
Okay, let's go. I won't be able to see it, so.
It's Scales.
Scales. So Discard has got Axis.
Again.
He's got Axis again. He doesn't have to play what his, in air quotes, possibly his ace, but also his weaker faction statistically, because he hasn't had as much time with it. Which means Dankus is going into the USA with the heavy US build, possibly. That's what he kind of telegraphed in the previous interviews. Oh boy, is it going to be a matchup. It really is.
And all that is coming after this very, very shortish break. You don't want to miss it. See you then.